My name is Al Brown. I've been a chef, cookbook writer, TV host, mustard maker, and opportunist entrepreneur.
Sharing our flaming secrets, that was our tagline.
I've developed my brand to reflect my values, and I've proudly waved the flag of informality in all areas of my business. I want to know what makes New Zealand entrepreneurs tick, what makes them successful, and what success even means these days.
There's more chance of bringing in a product that's established, but with your own brand and new attitude, than a brand new product that no one really wants.
Along the way, I'm going to be getting stuck into creating a wine brand with Constellation Brands.
Pinot is probably one of the most significant red wine varieties in New Zealand. Central Otago does produce the wow factor.
Yes. And shining a light on local charities that we'll be supporting with this project.
We have to recognise that we're incredibly lucky. It would be an incredibly sad day if we lost them.
TV and radio personality and entrepreneur Leigh Hart has come up with an ingenious branding of Wakachangi beer and Snackachangi chips, which are hugely popular. You've been flogging sausages, making people laugh. How did the Wakachangi start?
Well, I think we must have been between TV projects, sitting in the office. And it kind of occurred to me that a lot of the stuff we were doing sort of resonated. We did shows like Moon TV and things like Speedo Cops, this kind of thing. And you'd go to the Wellington Sevens and you'd see all these guys dressed up in Speedos and stuff, with Hamster Man, and it was kind of ridiculous. It was kind of, it was quite flattering and humbling, but it was, you sort of thought to yourself, is there a way between shows, not on capitalising on it sort of financially so much, but almost trying to bottle that in a way? That kind of attitude, I suppose. So, as I say, I think we were bored, and I said, I'm going to start a beer brand. And on Sports Cafe, the sports show we used to do was, I went down to the Waikato one day, and I was talking about the river, and I was going, the old Waka, the old Misty, the old lady, the Wakachangi, Wakachangi. Just riffing on that.
Just riffing.
Went on Facebook and just said, starting a beer brand called Wakachangi, thoughts? And it just kind of went ballistic. And I said, oh no, I've got to do it now. And then with the beer itself, I first tasted it when it came out because we were doing things so fast we couldn't do like test runs.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, that's a little bit hoppy, isn't it? And I talked to Scott at McCash and said, no, it could be a bit hoppy, I don't know. Took it to a party, only way to do it, put in a chili bin with everyone else's beers. At the end of the party, whose beers are still left there, whose aren't? Shit, and there's a whole lot of ours still there. It's not quite right. Bugger, let's drop the hops by 5%. I didn't even know what that meant. It just sounded good, So next time we went in there and they were all gone and there was still someone else's beers were still in there. And we thought, okay, we better not adjust again because it might start coming back in, because it might be too sweet. So we'll just leave it at that, because if you can get 6 out of 10 people liking the same beer, I think you're doing pretty well.
While beer is highly subjective, so is wine. One thing everyone seems to agree on is nothing can beat a Central Otago Pinot Noir. I'm down here in Bendigo to talk to Jeff Sinnott from Constellation about everything Pinot Noir.
Pinot is probably one of the most significant red wine varieties in New Zealand, if not the most significant. And we've had a very rapid rise in quality over the last 30 years.
And why is Central Otago kind of probably considered at the top?
Day length has a lot to do with it. We've got a lot of sunshine down here. But it's also relatively cool. I mean, this morning, people were in puffer jackets, so it was quite chilly. So having cold nights and hot days, really important for Pinot flavour development, and also tannin and colour development as well. So when you go further north, places like Martinborough, slightly different, basket of ingredients, and so they make their style. And no one can make Martinborough Pinot but Martinborough.
Yes.
No one can make Central Pinot but Central. So it is very centred around the vineyard and the terroir, where we are. Okay, no one can replicate this piece of land. We can mimic each other's practices, but no one has got this paddock but us.
Yes.
Right. And so for us, the Pinot that we want to make reflects this paddock.
Yeah.
Okay, and that I think is fundamental to producing great Pinot.
I'm keen to help with a bit of harvesting, so I've asked Avita, who is a seasoned pro, to show me how it's done.
So Avita, what are we looking for when we're cutting these or harvesting?
So we don't pick any of these. If you see any green fruit, we definitely don't want these. We have to make sure they're sweet enough, written enough. So yeah, that's the color.
That's
beautiful,
the colour.
Beautiful.
And you enjoy a glass of wine?
Of course.
Of course.
Do you?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I'm trying to learn how to make the stuff. And do you feel personally, a sense of satisfaction or a sense of connection, to it when you're doing this?
Yeah, definitely. I can appreciate a bottle of wine more now. And yeah, like especially if you work whole season and if you know what it takes, and then now you have the final product, the bottle of wine. It's really nice. It's very
so there's
nice.
a massive
really
sense of satisfaction.
Yes, yes.
Okay, where's the tractor? That's done.
Yes.
Now that I'm in Central Otago, it's a good chance to meet with Tamsin Orr-Walker from the Kea Conservation Trust, who deals with protecting and advocating for our cheeky mountain parrots.
Conservation's your life, and did you fall in love with the Kea? Is it
Yes,
quite
well,
a personal thing?
I worked with a group of 3 Kea at Auckland Zoo.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 of them on the records that we held there showed that they were taken from the wild because they were branded as sheep killers. So I was really fascinated as to why these birds were there, and so I went back to university to actually research Kea, and I haven't looked back.
There is something incredibly lovable about the Kea.
Yeah, highly intelligent, very charismatic species. You don't get a lot of wildlife that actually comes down and wants to pull apart your car and nick off with your passport. We have to recognise that we're incredibly lucky. It would be an incredibly sad day if we lost them. We've got an estimated 3,000 to 7,000 Kea remaining in the wild, and those numbers are actually extremely low. There was a bounty put on Kea for 100 years. When European settlers came in, they cleared all of this land around us, and then they put sheep on there. And so, of course, they took one food source away from the Kea and they put, very conveniently, another food source, which was the sheep. And 150,000 Kea were killed during that time.
What can people do to help this?
Firstly, one of the most important things is to advocate for the species. A lot of people don't know that they're threatened and that they need our help. And there's actually a database that they can log their sightings onto. And that gives us an idea of where populations are. And the third one is just to get involved. If people want to fund projects or get involved with predator control projects around the South Island.
And the other one, of course, is if you enjoy a tipple of Syrah.
Of course.
Serve and protect.
Yes.
A little bit goes to the Kea Conservation Trust each time you enjoy that Syrah. So
Having a good product is one thing, but having a good marketing strategy is just as important. So back at Leigh's place, I was keen to learn how he was able to market chips and be successful with it.
I needed another story to spin. So I ended up ringing up a whole lot of different sort of snack food companies and said, look, we do this beer. We're quite keen on doing some chips or something. And Griffin's got back in touch and said, okay, so what you're keen to do, Wakachangi beer flavoured chips? And I said, ooh, that sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
Would they sell? Who would eat those? They said, oh, right, okay, what do you want to do? And I said, well, what are your top 4 flavours? They said, salt and vinegar, chicken, barbecue, and sour cream, and whatever,
Sure.
So I said, well, wouldn't it make more sense to do that? This is where I sort of showed my ignorance a little bit, because I hadn't researched. They said, well, what style of chip do you want to do? So I said, well, what do you do now? So they said, well, we do a thick chip, we do a crinkle cut, and we do a kettle fry. I said, well, can you do all that to the one chip? And they looked around at the R&D guy and everything, and he went, yeah, probably. So that's what we did.
you would have thought there were enough chips. You would have thought there were enough beers out there.
Yeah, totally.
And I think that's a lesson for everybody that, if you've got the right angle, you can upset the category or whatever and make it, and it's ready for change.
Exactly right. You've got more chance, or wine. There's more chance of bringing in a product that's established already, but with your own brand and new attitude, than a brand new product that no one really wants. You don't have to do a marketing degree. We've all watched the same TV shows. We all eat food. Yep. We all like the same stuff. We're all as expert as everyone else. So if you have a good idea for something, that's just as valid as someone who did a marketing degree as an idea. I mean, he may have a crap idea. You just got to go with your gut instinct, because 90% of the time it'll be right. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
All the best.
Have a chip.
Oh, yeah.
These are really good.
Oh, good.
Taste the vinegar. Bloody awesome.
Just been working on this idea of a byline which gives some definition of what it's about, and that was serve and protect.
How do you get rid of the pines?
So you can chop wildings and paste their stumps with a chemical so they don't grow back.
Tipping point. The wines have just arrived.